The Trip to the Dentist by Scout Jenks. One Thursday morning I woke up at camp. It was beautiful. The birds were chirping and I was so ready to start the day. I walked to breakfast with my cabin mates. My brother came to my table at breakfast and said, "Good morning, Scout. Are you okay? Your cheek is very swollen." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, like very swollen. You should go see the nurse." I walked to the nurse's office after breakfast. "Hi, Nurse Jane," I said. Nurse Jane was standing at her desk. She looked up and said, "Hey, Scout, what's up?" I said, "I have a really bad toothache, and my brother said my cheek is very swollen." Jane looked concerned and said, "Now that you mentioned it, your cheek is a little swollen." I said, "Would you mind if I use your bathroom?" She said, "No, not at all." I walked into the bathroom and looked at myself in the mirror. My jaw dropped. My cheek was so big it looked like I shoved a tennis ball in my mouth. So I walked back to the waiting room. Nurse Jane, "Hey, Scout, I just called the dentist while you were in the bathroom. She said to come at 2 p.m. At that time, it was 12 p.m., so I wasn't feeling rushed. Nurse Jane said, "We need to go see what car seat fits you." I said, "Okay. On the way there, can I stop for lunch?" Nurse Jane said, "Yes, of course." She pulled out her phone. She looked up and said, "Does Dairy Queen sound good? It's a 20-minute drive there and another 10 minutes to the dentist." I said, "Yes, please." After we got there, we got out of the car. I saw the big DQ sign. I said, "Can I get a grilled cheese and a water, please?" She said, "Yes, of course." She said, "Maybe an ice cream with toppings on it." I gasped, "Yes, if you're okay with that." We ate, but I wasn't that hungry. I had butterflies in my stomach. This was the first time doing something like this without my parents. At the dentist, I realized it was a pediatric dentist. It was so cool. There was a train on the ceiling and iPads you could play games on. I got settled in the waiting room while Nurse Jane got me checked in. I used the iPad they had given me to play the game, Where's My Water? My brother and I played it at home, so it helped me calm my nerves while I waited. Then finally my name was called. They were ready for me. When I finally got into the exam room, I met the dentist. She was very nice, and she looked in my mouth. She explained to me that one of my old fillers had become infected and I needed to get my tooth pulled. Unfortunately, it was a molar, so it was a little more challenging to pull, she said. She said, "I'm going to give you some gas. It's in a mask that I put over your nose. When the mask is on, just relax. Breathe in and out through your nose, and it will be over before you know it." She put the gas mask on, and it smelled like bubble gum. She also put headphones on me and started a movie. The movie was frozen. It was projected onto the ceiling so I could see it while I was in the reclined position. I relaxed like the dentist said and breathed through my nose. Soon I couldn't feel anything because of the funny gas. The dentist said, "Open your mouth, please." I opened my mouth. The next 10 minutes were foggy because of the gas. But before I knew it, my tooth was out. The dentist showed me my tooth. I could feel a big gap in my mouth. Nurse Jane was with me the whole process, holding my hand. She said, "Wow, look at those roots on that tooth. You did such a great job. You were so brave. I'm going to call your parents and let them know that everything is okay and that you were a champ." When we were back in the car, Nurse Jane said, "Okay, we need to make a stop at CVS." I said, "Okay, Jane. Okay, Nurse Jane." I said with a little smile, even though I wasn't excited to go. I was looking forward to getting back to camp to see my brother. "We just have to pick up some antibiotics for you. It'll be real quick," Nurse Jane said. In the drive-thru of CVS, I fell asleep. I was so relieved to have the whole experience behind me. After we returned to camp, the nurse director met us at the car. He was so proud of me and couldn't believe how big the roots were on my tooth. We drove around camp in the golf cart and showed all the other campers my big tooth. Everyone was happy to see me feeling better and told me how brave I was. I found my brother Patrick. He gave me a big hug and said, "I'm so glad you are feeling better. I have been worried all day. I'm so impressed with how brave you were today. Nice job." The next day, in the camp newsletter, I was mentioned for how courageously I handled a very hard situation all on my own. I was so proud of myself. I knew that in the future I could face more than most any challenge and handle it with bravery and courage and be just fine.